Hello and thank you for joining us in this special back page video. On the day that David Moyes' short term in charge of Manchester United came to an end, we're joined by Record Sports' Keith Jackson to look back at the last 10 months at Old Trafford. And Keith, it seems the chosen one has indeed become the wrong one.
Yeah.
But is it fair and is it right for Man United to give Moyes his jotters at this stage?
Well, there's two things here. First of all, were they right? Was it inevitable? Yes, I think it was. I've written a piece today. At first, I think everybody who wasn't steeped in Manchester United or grew up in Stretford then took some kind of element of enjoyment out of this, because it was so unusual to see the Invincibles becoming, brought down a few levels, embarrassed. And you looked at it and thought, well, this eventually Moyes will get this right. This can't go on indefinitely. There will be an upturn at some point. But the more chaotic it became, the more clear it became that Moyes was in out of his depth and unable to turn it around. And I don't think that it's a great surprise that it's ended in this way, because the signs were that it was only getting worse. There was no great sign. There was no real sign of improvement at all. If United got a win, it was just an irrelevance, because you were waiting for the next game. You expected another slap in the face, and it came at Everton of all places at the weekend. And so A, was the decision right? Probably. B, was it handled properly? Absolutely not. I think it's disgraceful the way that David Moyes has been treated here. For this to become public knowledge on Twitter yesterday afternoon, when it seemed to me that a number of top journalists in England had been briefed on this, and it was no coincidence that they all tweeted within a 10-minute period. It was almost like guerrilla warfare against their own manager. I thought it was shameful, and I don't think that David Moyes deserves to have been, sacked in such a callous, cold-hearted manner. I think that Manchester United pride themselves in being a class club, a club which handles itself properly. I think they've handled themselves abysmally where the sacking of David Moyes is concerned, even though I do agree that the decision was probably inevitable.
Yeah. This was always going to be a rebuilding job, a huge job to follow in the footsteps of Alex Ferguson. Yeah. Ferguson himself started the season with pleading with the fans to give Moyes time. He himself was given time 26 years ago when he took over at Manchester United. Did Moyes not deserve a second season?
Well, different eras, isn't it? Also, I think what you have to take into recognition here is that when Alex Ferguson went to Manchester United were a club already in the grip of a decline, and there was no short-term fix available there. They bought into Alex Ferguson, they bought into his methods, and they said, right, we will give you the time. And even then, Ferguson came close himself to leaving Old Trafford well before his 26 years were finally up. But once he got it right, he was obviously the man, and that's why he stayed there for such a length of time. But the difference being, David Moyes took over a team that was champions of England.
Again,
the biggest club in the world. They were the champions of England, and now, with relatively the same squad, they're becoming a laughingstock in the English Premier League. The performance this year under Moyes just hasn't been in any way, shape or form acceptable. And I think, if you took a long-term approach, you would say, right, we'll stick with Moyes because that's the Manchester United way. Eventually he's going to get it right. But there were no signs that it was going to get right. In fact, if anything, United's performances were just getting worse and worse and worse. They spent significant money, over £60 million on two players, Marouane Fellaini, who doesn't look like a Manchester United player, Juan Mata, who should be a Manchester United player, but when Moyes signed him, curiously played him on the right-hand side, out wide. Juan Mata's not a wide player, never has been, and was exactly what this United team were crying out for, a playmaker who should have had a central role in the team, but Moyes didn't seem to know how to use his players. Also, I think the players have given up on Moyes. I'm not sure that they ever bought into him in the first instance, and the United players are getting off lightly here because they've been, performing abysmally throughout the course of the season. That said, Sir Alex Ferguson must take the blame as well, because I honestly, if you look back over the entire 26 years of Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson, I'm not sure there's been a weaker squad of first team players. Ferguson left behind his weakest ever United squad. And Moyes was the man who was challenged with trying to pick up the pieces. The players didn't buy into his methods. They looked like Everton in red shirts. He had a very functional Everton side, and he tried to make Manchester United functional. That just won't wash. Manchester United were raised on a different philosophy. You go to Old Trafford, these fans, they expect to see Manchester United. One of their songs is attack, attack, attack. They never attacked at any point under David Moyes. It was, very cautious. And it just wasn't a good fit. Moyes was not a good fit from day one.
Yeah. A man out of his depth at Old Trafford, do you feel?
Sadly.
What now then for David Moyes, and what now for Manchester United?
For David Moyes, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I really feel some sympathy for him, even though, yes, I took some delight in watching the problems that Manchester United were encountering. But, the guy on a personal level, spent 15 years building a real strong reputation for himself in England with Preston, and I think it was 11 years at Everton. And he went into that job with his reputation really soaring high. He was, generally acknowledged as a real diligent, bright manager. But he leaves the job as a laughingstock, and that's really a difficult one for in terms of repairing the damage done to his reputation. I'm not sure that it ever will be fully repaired. If a big job is coming up this summer, would a big club go for David Moyes? No, because of the reputational problems that is his legacy after Manchester United. It's entirely possible that he'll go and get a middle of the road team, a Newcastle or something, and it might fit him and fit his capabilities far more than Manchester United job did. And hopefully he will, over time, repair the damage done, if not completely, because I don't think he'll ever get another top job, at least to a satisfactory degree. Although David Moyes will get such a big payoff out of this that he'll never need to work again. So he doesn't need to rush back into it, that's for sure. But it's a football thing. As bruised as he'll have been by this experience, I'm sure, given the summer off, a few weeks to lick his wounds, I'm sure he'll want to get back into it in some way, shape or form. But I think that the opportunity for him to land a job as prestigious as the Manchester United position will never come again for him.
Yeah, strong stuff indeed. Okay, Ryan Giggs, of course, has been placed in interim charge and will take the role against Norwich City this weekend. Don't forget, you can keep up to date with all the latest on this news at www.dailyrecord.co.uk. Thanks again to Keith, and thanks again to you for joining us.